Welcome everyone to Wednesday, one of the best days of the week, one of the best days of the week, and one of the best shows on the internet. Whether you think so or not, we do. And that's all that matters. All right, so we are streaming live, obviously, to YouTube via our StreamYard and Twitch. Normally, we also stream out to Twitter, but Twitter's being a dirty bitch and a whore, and I had to cancel that. So nothing on Twitter. So welcome. I was lazy and I did not put up the banner for this one. So this is MG number 209, a Life of Adventure series, and we're going to be talking about women for this kickoff of this series. We're going to see how far we can take it. So I guess before we get started, let me briefly explain about being a masculine geek. Whether he wants to or not, a masculine geek is a bit of a Renaissance man. We don't call ourselves that, but we wind up being that when we take inventory of what we do in our lives. And fundamentally, being a masculine geek is living your life, designing your life, if you will, the way you want, unapologetically, and with boldness and audacity. Would you gentlemen agree with that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Would you also agree that we act that way with women?
Yes.
Well, yeah, you have to.
There you go. And that's the show. We're done.
Thank you for joining us. Tune in next Wednesday.
see you next Wednesday where we have a guest. No. So my thought on this, I was kind of bouncing around my head how I wanted to do this. And I really didn't come to any conclusions because usually we just riff off the stories that we all have, the experience, if you will, that we all have. And I know we were talking about this before we jumped in live. Rob, you have a post regarding experience, which kind of dovetails nicely with the topic of women.
Well, I have two posts, actually. There's one that's coming up on Monday because I just literally finished it not 5 minutes before I joined the panel here. So that'll be coming up on Monday. It's titled Experience with Women. And I started thinking about it. And in a nutshell, in 2022, I met physically in my face, got them off the couch, got them out of the house, got their ass in front of me. I met 10 different women. Okay. Now, out of those 10, 2 of them, which, coincidentally, and just as a side note, the first woman of 2022 and the last woman of 2022 went nowhere at all. I got a hug. I got the A frame.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, which is fine. Okay.
Yeah.
It just, this isn't going anywhere. So whatever. Out of the remaining 8, I slept with 3 of them. And I made out with 5, which includes the 3 that I slept with.
Oh, nice. Some tons of hockey.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's all on top of me holding down a 40-hour-a-week job, doing live streams like this, writing blog posts, doing videos, doing a fuck ton of live streams.
Illustrating the point nicely, Rob. Thank you.
Right. With all the shit that I do, I met 10, which that's not a flex. That's not a brag. I'm like, dude, you only
just
met
an observation.
Right. Do you have a spreadsheet? No, it's just a matter of I have a memory and I have a bunch of archived texts. But I got thinking about it when Vince asked me to be on this show tonight. I thought, we're going to talk about my personal favorite subject of all, which is women.
Yeah.
Which got me thinking about women and how many I've met or didn't meet. And so I had to go back through all of my archive texts and be like, yeah, I didn't meet that one. I didn't meet this one. I didn't meet this one. So my criteria was I had to meet them face to face with the intention that they knew that I'm here to date. I'm here to have sex. I'm here to do all these things. It's not me talking to the chick at the checkout counter and saying, hey, nice weather we're having, right? It's not me talking to, cousins, sisters, wives, whatever. It's me talking to women with the intention of dating and or having sex with them. Okay. I met 10.
Nice. Okay. That's a modest amount. That's pretty good.
I don't know what that is for the average guy. Maybe some dudes have met way more.
Hey, it's almost one a month.
Well, that's how I looked at it, but it's not even one a month.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
but given everything that you're doing, I mean, that's not bad.
right? Well, and that's kind of the point. You know, like I said, when I wrote this post, and I even said it in the post, this isn't like a flex or a brag, because I didn't even meet one a month. When you average it out, I didn't
Almost,
even
but
meet
yeah.
one a month. Okay. It's almost, if you spread them all out, but most of them I actually met in the summer. Okay.
You had the winter
But-
off.
Well, yeah, even right now. And that's all while I was also dating the belly dancer. I was seeing her in addition to meeting these other 10. Okay. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, what is, should try opening with an offer for Oh, McTubis. Vince and I were just shredding that one here just a moment ago.
Yeah,
on
we're talking about that.
Twitter.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, you know.
we'll come back to that. I do want to
Yeah,
talk about that. I do want to come back to that.
Yeah, I want to tear it apart too. But
Yeah,
that's-
we're gonna rip that one a new asshole.
we're choosing violence tonight.
We
on that
absolutely.
When do you not choose violence, Rob?
dude.
That's like not even. It's like violence, more violence, even more violent. I mean, there is no other option beyond that.
Rob is a layer cake of violence.
Well, you say that, but you motherfuckers really have no idea the shit that I choose not to send.
I have
The
a little
amount
bit of
of
an idea. I've been around you.
self-restraint
I've been around you, so I have a little bit of an idea.
You have an idea that,
I have a little bit of an idea.
what people witness on Twitter is but the tip of the iceberg when it comes to choosing violence. Typically, I sit there and I'm like, "Grr," and I start writing up a tweet to just burn something. You know what? Fuck it. And then I just hit delete and just move on with my day. I choose peace more often than I choose violence. Believe it or not, if what you've seen, you consider me ultra violent, dude, you have no idea.
Well, it's just that's an indictment on Rob's ability to control violent emotion, and that's to his credit as a man. There you go. And he's gonna drink his Bud Light and fuck y'all. So everyone, and I do want to say welcome to everyone in the chat. This should prove to be an interesting discussion. It already is. I'll tell you right now. I was like you, Mike. I was like you. So here's the deal with Bud Light. So
it's cheap, and it's
easy.
and I can screw the top back on so I can save my drink for later.
Exactly. And I poo-pooed it at one time, and then the day before we were leaving one of our Village by the Seas.
The first one.
The first one in 2019.
And I left a whole bunch of them fuckers at
we go to the liquor store, and Rob's like, I'm gonna grab these. He's like he's manhandling this 24-36 case. I think it was 36.
It might have been. I don't remember how many, but I didn't drink, but maybe half.
The day before we were leaving, I'm like, Rob, are you gonna be able to drink all that?
And you did.
So Rob drank maybe half, maybe. And he's like, here. He hands me a double plastic bag. He's here. These are for you. I'm like, all right. And
what am I going to do with these?
I think to myself, they're going to sit in my refrigerator for months on end, and I'll eventually, like, one a week, I'll dump and throw out.
Right.
Well, no, I looked at it. The bottle was rather enticing. I'm like, that's kind of easy to twist off top, and I could put it back. It's almost like a tin stainless steel metal kind of thing going. I'm like,
it is tin. It's fucking aluminum.
There you go. And I didn't have any wine on hand. Figured, you know what? Fuck it. Sat down and
so
did
you
some
got
writing.
lazy and decided you didn't want to go out to get wine, so you
I didn't want to go out to get any wine. I got lazy, and I cracked open a fucking one of Rob's Bud Lights as he left me as an impromptu gift following the Village by the Sea. I'm like, cheers to you, Rob. I'm going to drink this fucking swill.
Yeah,
and it's really not swill. It's quite tasty. I mean, it's beer. It's basic beer, but for basic beer, it's very really basic. Good. It's very good. So I when Rob now with Village by the Seas and our next Village by the Sea this year, there will be Bud Light in abundance. So there you go.
And that's part of why I can stay, as thin as I am, because I don't drink a lot of real heavy beers with a lot of extra carbs and sugars and all that bullshit too.
You're not drinking like Guinness and shit.
Right. Okay. Otherwise, I would be, you just see this blob sitting here. All right. But this is what I choose to drink. I do like imports. I do like, craft beers, all that kind of stuff that y'all love and know. I'm always on the lookout for certain types. Like when I come out to Village by the Sea with Vince, I'm always on the lookout for that $20 fucking bottle of beer.
Oh yeah. Did you ever remember that, Rob?
I do not remember the name of it. I'm kicking myself in the
God
ass
damn it.
this day about that.
I was looking
That
at
was a
trying to figure out what
good
liquor.
bottle of beer.
Do you remember if the liquor store was here in where I'm at or down in Ocean City?
It was closer to Ocean City.
Shit. Damn.
But it was a $20 bottle of beer and it had a chocolate afternote and it was a dark stout. And I remember that because you could practically cut it with a knife when you drank that bitch.
I remember you let us taste it.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
And I've never found
like a milkshake, right?
Like it. Yeah, it was almost like a milkshake. Okay.
Oh,
but I also know $20 a pop. God damn. But you knew where the money went.
$20 is $20.
Well, yeah, as Aaron would say. But I also know that if I drank them on the regular, I would be bankrupt and I would be as big as a house if I was drinking them on the regular.
How you used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Not too far off. Okay. Which is why I don't drink them on the regular. This stuff I can drink by the fucking 12 pack and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Alex, have I tried Yuengling? No, I have not.
Screwball peanut butter whiskey is fucking tasty, but there's a lot of sugar in that.
Yeah, not had that.
That's good. Add some chocolate liqueur to that and make yourself a alcoholic liquid Reese's Pieces cup.
I believe that. Goddamn,
I had that for
Alex
Christmas.
Tino's being a goddamn sophisticated talking about whiskey only, no ice. He likes it neat.
Yeah, that has its place. TJ, do you like whiskey neat?
For the most part, yeah. There's sometimes I'll have like one ice cube. It's not very big. But then there's sometimes I'll have an old fashioned where they do the whole cutting the ice block into a box and dropping it in the drink.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
really depends. But I typically drink it neat because I don't like it watering it down.
Okay. I know I've heard some aficionados will just drip a few drops of water along the surface tension of the whiskey,
Yeah,
and then mix it, and then that's it. Somehow that breaks up and does
Yeah.
something to the flavor.
it because there's that liquor taste that you can't get rid of unless it's a really I mean, we're talking if it's a really good bottle of whiskey, then I would never put an ice cube in it. I wouldn't want to do that because it's smooth enough. But a lot of whiskeys, you kind of have to break up that. There's just that residual, kind of like rubbing alcohol.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not, and people are thinking, oh, like the bottle, shelf stuff. No, this is even like better whiskeys too. I mean, you have to really buy a very not expensive, but you just have to not be there. It's the same thing with rum and frankly any liquor. You have to buy good stuff that's been distilled.
Gotcha. No, this is not a Bacon. You were summoned. Well, you'll be summoned briefly, and then we're going to banish you because we're talking about women. So we know that's not your. We know that's not your. We're not. We know that's not your subject, Bacon. So we were talking. There was a tweet made, some repartee back and forth between Rob and James James got the invite. Where the fuck he is? He knows about this. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, if he's listening, then he can.
He might be on a hike.
He might be hiking.
Yeah,
he might be licking. He might be licking some post-hike sweaty pussy. We have no idea. So there, someone. I think it was.
I feel like I missed out on like the context. What's
all right. So James, there was someone talking about not taking a woman on a hike that you've never met and offering up as a first date is a no-no.
Right.
And James said
context. Really?
God
Can
damn
I
it.
add to that?
Go ahead.
real fast?
Go ahead.
Started off with a tweet from Fort Worth Playboy.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's where the originator came from.
Oh,
He
okay.
had mentioned certain things that you do not do. And one of them he said was no goddamn hikes. Those are like
Correct.
his exact words. And I added to that, basically saying, yeah, dude, this is stupid. I know guys who've tried, well, whatever. And
So
a bunch of guys jumped in on it. Well, then James comes back with, he's talking about me. And, it basically, he said, be me. It worked for me. And then
And
Vince and I were like, wait a minute.
I
Vince
said,
was the
no.
one that- yeah, you started
So-
it, but I thought about it when I was at work. I just didn't bother to tweet.
Can
Well,
because
I,
it
can I throw my observation?
Well, hang on a second, because Rob, I started off. Rob interrupted me. That's cool. I will not have a second interruption.
All right.
All right.
Don't make me mute. Don't make me yeet you all. No, I'm this is very brief. James said it worked for me. Now, contextually speaking, he talked to his girl on the phone for a very long time, and then their first
Yeah.
meeting, they went hiking. That's
Right.
acceptable because there was a bond of trust created
All right.
over the phone.
And
If
that's
you're going on
why-
if you're on a dating app, okay, and the first thing is like you text her, here's my number, text me when you get this. And she does, and you do some witty repartee back and forth, and it's all going well. You don't say, I'm going hiking Saturday, you're coming with me. No, that screams she's going to die and end up in a hole somewhere.
Correct.
You
right.
don't
Oh,
do
man,
that.
We meet a stranger in the wilderness with no witnesses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not fundamentally that's not going to happen. Now, go ahead, TJ.
No, I was just going to say that I agree. Years ago, I would ask women to go on hikes, and I don't think that it was ever that issue. I just think it was I think part of it was the women, that they just couldn't. None of these women were like the one that got away, so like don't mistake it that way. But, and so I agree. It's not a good. But for me, I enjoy hiking. It's like that saying, never take a woman fishing, right? Don't take a woman to go do something that you enjoy with on your own, because
Yeah.
what will end up happening is, even if she does end up going, unless she's really into hiking and she clearly is initiating with you, which is not going to be the case. In short, I agree with them. I think that's just, you want to keep it as low key, casual, with minimal cause for her to like freak out over stuff. And this is coming from like lessons learned in my own life. This isn't coming from me like having figured this out. So yeah, I think that's good advice. If you know the person in advance, or you've known them for a couple of years, it's different than somebody you've just met. Then that's the problem.
Yeah. I think that's fundamentally safe to say. Now, if you've met up on the first date and obviously all goes well, sure. If you want to make your I don't know what I probably wouldn't, but if you want to make your second day at a fucking hike, hey, go for it. Whatever.
I
Doesn't
think that
matter.
I think there's just that's the, for lack of a better word, that's the market conditions. I mean, I knew a buddy of mine who he lived in a regular city area, and he invited a girl to come over to have like a bonfire like in his backyard. He was, going to have a little fire pit and just hang out and have drinks. And friends of hers talked her out of it because she didn't feel, they just said, it's not safe to go over to a person's house like that. And it's just like, that's just the world we live in. People can complain about it.
Well, Rob and I can dispute that one,
Mhm.
especially over COVID. It
Well,
had nothing to do with inviting to a bonfire. But
well, okay. So here's the thing: is that the more, well, never mind. No, I have thoughts. They're just way too cynical for my personality.
I don't think that's possible.
I was just say I don't know.
What?
I don't know about
That is your personality.
I
mean-
your handle named a Black Pill TJ. Just
Yeah.
Black pill TJ. Well, I wouldn't say that far, but it could be a little cynical. Not so much as when I first met you, TJ. You're a lot. You were a lot more comfortable in your own skin from when I first met you. I don't know if you can confirm that, but that's my observation.
You're still the youngest old man on this panel,
Yeah, but
I
you're more
mean-
comfortable in your own skin.
but
Yeah.
but Vince, Rob, and I are all older than you, but we don't act it.
Yeah.
So,
Goddamn, Sarah Beth showed up bringing the fire.
oh God,
Oh Christ!
who told her we were being here?
Have to
Well,
heat her.
apparently.
Wow.
Reasons why women should carry. Oh, that's right.
Oh.
When he asks you on a hike for your first date, this
Make
is
sure you make sure you're packing heat.
that's right, because he might be Buffalo Bill. Just maybe.
That's possible. That is possible.
Or you might show up in a pair of Noble shorts with no underwear.
Oh,
Those commando shorts.
His what the commando panties. Oh
shit.
Christ! That's all I need is picture you guys in commando panties. Oh fuck!
Standing on top of a mountain,
Drinking
happy
coffee.
reaching up inside our shorts. Or
Yeah.
What shorts?
Jesus Christ. Oh fuck. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that the no hiking is the way to go for a first date. So yes.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Well, and if she agrees to it, it's because she's a guy that plans to rape you in the woods and bury your body. So,
There you go.
Hey, that sounds like a fun time.
There you go.
Go in with a little bit of an edge, guys. Who knows? She
Yeah.
might be one.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about also personality. Like a second date I went on, I took a girl out snowshoeing out in it wasn't remote. It was just when it snows and you're out in the woods a mile away from the parking lot, it just seems remote, right?
Yeah.
And she didn't have any problems with it. I didn't, she'd already met me and that kind of stuff. And so you can do outdoor stuff, but there has to be this sort of like understanding that can be done on a first date where you just connect really well, or it can be where they really have to get to know you. This is a dynamic, and it's not just related to dating women, but there's people, and I'm curious if you guys have ever had this happen where you meet someone and you feel like within 5 minutes you've known this person for 20 years. Like there's so much like about them that you just get and they get about you. I had that happen recently where there was somebody somebody I met where we were talking like we had been like grew up together when this person I had no idea what this person was, but we connected well. So you can kind of read people. I think that the ability to read each other is a very underrated concept when it comes to dating. If you can read them and they can read you really well, that makes them much more comfortable around you, as opposed to like there's girls where they may be beautiful, but if I can't read them, I can't pick up on their body language. I have no idea what's going on, in their head. I tend to not approach them. Whereas there's ones where if I can read them really well, I feel much more comfortable talking to them because I know what the worst case scenario is going to be. I know that there's certain things that is not going to come out of their mouth when I approach them or talk to them.
Well, and there's a difference between reading them and them reading you.
Right.
I want to be able to read them. Yes. I do not want them to be able to read me. I want them to think that they've read me. That is fine for them to think, oh, I totally get you. I know you. Oh, I understand you so well. And for them not. That's absolutely fine.
It's a line from Near Dark, 1989.
Yes.
When
one of the
Lance
best vampire movies ever made.
When Lance Henriksen said to Caleb, he says, I taught Severin everything he knew. I didn't teach him everything I know.
Exactly.
An idea.
Yep. It's words
I think
to live
at
by.
the same time, there's stuff about me that I would not want them to think they knew that's not true. And, an example is like when you say something and you mean it and they think you're joking or that you don't mean it, if that makes sense.
Sometimes it's just women. Sometimes you will be serious about something and they will totally not think that you are. And other times you will be joking about something and they will swear to God you meant that, even though you're like, it was a flippant, off the cuff, funny, smart ass remark because I am a sarcastic SOB.
Mhm. Yep.
But
They're not-
they
a lot,
up and
lot
down,
of
you were serious about that.
not socially calibrated very well. That's for sure.
Yeah, the social skills stuff is again underrated.
Well,
Yeah, it is.
how many guys talk to Alex on like Twitter who couldn't even get 3 words out to the barista at Starbucks? You know, it's just, and he's the Spurg whisperer, and he, you know, that's. I mean, come on.
It sounds like a D&D character.
It should be.
It is now. It's a druid character.
But yeah, so I mean, but a lot of that stuff is lost in the new media age in which we live, and a lot of it is just different as far as being able to use that technology to do that.
Yeah, the art of live conversation is gone, or at least suppressed and almost forgotten, because it's definitely a skill, holding your own in the conversation and knowing when to bow out gracefully.
Yeah, and also it depends on and it also depends on the generation of the girl. And I don't necessarily mean millennial, Gen Z, Gen whatever. I mean, you know, a 20-year-old now. There are things you could have said to a 20-year-old in 1980 that they would totally get, that were a part of the mating ritual, that a 20-year-old now, depending on where she is and where she came from, just will not get, will be completely oblivious to, will not understand that that's a part of anything.
Yeah.
And so that is definitely a factor in things. But then, of course, you know, you've got some 20-year-olds that throw it out there, and it's like, well, I don't have to be subtle or coy or clever with you because, you know, you're just there. So it all depends. Like I said, I think in a tweet to Rob earlier in the week or last week, women are like Baskin Robbins. There's so many different flavors.
Right.
You know, pick and choose. And if you want, you can have your vanilla with your chocolate and a strawberry.
I almost feel like it's beer where they're all they're making is IPAs.
Well,
maybe out where you're at,
colleges are turning out are IPAs, or if you live in, you know, if you're one of those unfortunate people that live in the Pacific Northwest. Do we know anyone that lives in the?
Does
Pacific
anyone raise your
Northwest?
hand if you live? Raise your hand if you live in the Pacific Northwest.
Lives in the Pacific.
Sucks to be them, right? Sucks to be them.
But
indeed.
I mean, you know, I see stuff all the time on the news or Twitter about this problem and this thing and men and women and blacks and whites and this and that. And I go out, I live my life. I go into businesses, I come out of businesses, I go to restaurants, I meet people. All the end of Rome stuff. It's like that may be happening somewhere, but it wasn't happening today on the west side of Indianapolis. Or on the northeast side of Indianapolis, or wherever. So, you know,
we might be at the.
So you mean Aaron Clary, Mike?
Well, I would say, isn't Aaron
Mike
only
is
there
way
like
more...
6 months a year?
No, I meant to put when I went to click it, he shot in this one real fast. Okay. When I went to click on that one, curse you StreamYard. So this is the comment I was making. The Aaron Clary. He's way more powerful than he deserves to be.
Chesty said that a really good IPA does exist, but the stuff that's being mass marketed is not it.
I typically don't gravitate towards IPAs.
I don't either.
Yeah.
That's all that I can find at the grocery store.
I have to ship you some Bud Light.
Yeah. Well, I could go to a total beer and wine type store and get stuff, but there's not any within, you know, reasonable driving distance. But yeah.
I'm gonna say, can people ship you alcohol, or is that like cigars and pipe tobacco, verboten in the People's Republic of?
I've shipped TJ pipe tobacco.
Okay.
Right. In fact, there's a pipe tobacco I want to order that I'm gonna have to send to your house. So
that's fine. Just keep me posted. I'll keep a lookout for it, and have my girl send it back out to you.
No.
That's right. Yes, everyone. My women are also my secretaries, literally. And not because I demand it of them, because they want to. We can also talk about that phenomenon as well. The masculine geek is also a dominant presence. And not just at the gaming table, not just at work, but with his women. And Rob can attest to this.
Mm-hmm.
He's also dominant with his women, and so is Robert. Those are key factors with women for a masculine geek, and a life of adventure with women is having a dominant presence. Would you agree with that, Rob?
Yeah.
All right. Robert?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you want to drive a woman nuts, when she asks you about something, tell her, I don't know, what do you want to do? You don't. You make that decision. You make the call. There's no wrong place to eat tonight. There is no wrong meal for her to prepare for you tonight. You tell her what you want. It's that simple. And the thing is, they want you to tell them. They legitimately do.
Yeah. I've always said, law of the universe: men guide and lead, women follow and serve. And a lot of guys, men who haven't experienced this, don't believe it's possible. They think you're bullshitting them.
Well, yeah, they believe I'm trying to be the nice guy that I was told I was supposed to be. I'm trying to be understanding, and what do you want to do, and where do you want to go, and so on and so forth. And all of that stuff is garbage. Yeah. I mean, if you're married and want to get divorced, try to accommodate your wife. That's a real quick way to get there.
I would say even further and make no accommodations.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like, oh, Vince, you're a piece of shit. You're an asshole. You must treat your women mean. No, my main girl has been with me going on, let's see, October of last year. 16, almost 17 months.
And the belly dancer's been around for a while too.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
So it's hard to explain to people that the gentlemen that don't get it. I mean, I think one of the main things you have to do is give yourself permission to do so. A lot of guys think they can't talk or act that way with women, that they're not allowed somehow, or the woman's going to leave them or get angry. A lot of guys live in fear of making a woman angry. And I know that can be scary. She may be throwing a temper tantrum or crying, and that's, if you're not used to that and don't handle yourself, or that's uncharted water for you, what you really want to do is you're uncomfortable and you want to appease her and shut that down as soon as possible. You can't handle that. You let her cry that shit out. You look at a non-existent watch. Are you done? We're going to go do this. And you continue on with your evening, your day, or whatever you're doing.
Well, sometimes they want to be mad. They want to be angry. They want to fight.
Yeah, that's fine. You just let it run its course.
Well, and it's like forestry, a controlled burn. If you start the fire you want to start, you control it, and you let it burn out all that underbrush, then you don't have the genuine thing where the entire half the state loses all of its trees and all the houses because you didn't control that shit. You've got to control it. And then sometimes you have to control when they get mad and what they get mad about, and how they get unmad.
We're discussing, women in the chat's discussing alcohol. Two cool things, of course, but I like the dichotomy.
Yeah, but that's kind of sadly telling in a way.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, no offense to the guys in the chat.
Welcome, James. You're late, bastard.
I am.
Were you out on a hike?
He was out on a hike.
You were hiking, weren't you, James?
His woman was combing his hair.
I was hiking with your mom.
I was waiting for that.
I say you wouldn't be the first. Won't be the last either.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
so it's that tweet got exactly what I wanted out of it. As you, man, I almost forgot how fun the Spurgosphere can be. What's the new name for the gay nightclub as of recent? What are we calling
The
it?
Gay Monastery.
The Gay Monastery.
Mm-hmm.
Is so much fun because you could just bait people. It's like the work husbands comment, except this time I'm on the subsequent show.
Oh, you're the cornbread work husband?
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yes. Now we were putting it in context for everybody, even though you weren't being serious.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's yeah. No, it's a wonderful way of I don't know, generating discussion between people, because inevitably you get folks giving advice, whether it's solicited or unsolicited. You get folks telling old stories about times that they've been referred to in such a way, or they've gotten personal experience with whatever it is that people are tweeting about. So as annoying as the Gay Monastery can be, and how patently ridiculous it can get, it's still fun. It's still an excuse to trade stories at the very least.
Yeah. All right, that's our show. We're gonna call it.
There it is.
And
there you go.
That's it. No, so. And also getting back to life of adventure, and since James has just popped in, he's been living a bit of a life of adventure this past year too, with moving from New Jersey out to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say on a whim, but with very little extraneous crap he brought with him.
A little bit on a whim. I think. So the person I had initially moved down with, I think we had talked about moving in together at some point, like something like 2 years past. I think he hit me up maybe a month or two before he actually went down there.
I seem to recall you talking about that,
Yeah, sometime like September. And then so he actually did go down in September. And I went down in October, right before our it was right after our Village by the Sea trip.
Yep.
And so it was kind of just on a whim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was more or less just like, this is my chance to get out and escape. And I took it. And that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Was there ever a chance where it was iffy that you were going to do it? Did you ever have those moments where you almost talked yourself out of doing it?
Oh, not once. Not this time. Because for me, moving out was always like a financial calculation. Whereas if I was going to do it out on my own to get all of my shit moved and to make the transition smooth, it was going to cost about $10,000. But given that I had a roommate, and we were going down to not necessarily a cheaper area, but some place where I could be reasonably certain I wasn't going to run into a whole bunch of expensive problems. Made it work with a little bit less than that. And I had some financial assistance, which ended up eventually accruing to the $10,000 anyways. But that's what... So for me, it was always a financial calculation. If I can hit this number, I can get out. If I can get these things going for me, I can get out, and that's fine. And the moment I hit that number, I would be out. I remember begging my family, listen, just please leave me alone. Let me record this fucking audiobook. Stop telling the dogs to bark all day.
I remember
fucking
that.
Christ, just let me. I'm trying to get out. Let me go. You
sabotage
do nothing but bitch 24/7 that I'm here, but you do everything you can to sabotage me leaving.
Yep.
It was insane. So no, I was desperate to get out, and so the first opportunity I got, I took it. That was sort of proof to myself that I really did want to get out the entire time.
Yeah. Well, you made a decision, and you did what you wanted. Yep.
Yeah, it definitely seems to have paid off for you.
Absolutely. Did I drive there or fly? I flew down. Yeah, it did pay off. I'm in a much better situation. I'm financially a lot more stable. My financial situation is increasing even more as of late. I'm adding fun new titles to my CV.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I could use to get it in other places in entertainment. So,
right.
Okay.
I'm feeling pretty good.
So you're doing production work, correct?
Yes, I'm an assistant production manager for the same company that my best friend is a part of. He got me the job, and I said, all right, well, this is my, every time I've had an opportunity prior, it was trashed for me. It was sabotaged for me. So I said, with this one, I will I'll have no obstacles that I was facing as a result of extraneous circumstances back in South Jersey, but I'll have nobody to blame but myself if things go south. So I had a little extra incentive to plus it to make it really work for me and my friend in kind. And so I'm happy that it wasn't just like, it didn't just turn into like a welfare job for me. I'm actually, I'm doing my damn job and getting
you're not a leech. You're not being a leech. Yeah.
Leeching. That was the
leech.
word I was
You're not being a leech.
I'm not just leeching off.
You're not leeching, see? Oh. How's your pussy there, Rob?
He's good.
He looks content.
As about as content as a cat can be.
That's probably pretty good for a cat. I like it.
Too bad he can't hear us talking about him.
He wouldn't mind too much. I think he'd be okay with it. Scratch it.
Here, you need to get out.
You get heavy after a while.
Blowing hair. Well, no, he's blowing hair like a bomb.
Okay. Pussy hair is never good when you're broadcasting.
No.
Cats or otherwise. So, fantastic. Let's get back to the subject of women.
Right.
So, the only one married here, or in a living arrangement, really, is Robert. Correct?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Sort of. Okay.
I mean, obviously I have my own space and it is not just one room in the house that I'm sequestered to. As,
I know, right?
As pictures from time to time have shown, the collection spreads throughout the domicile. So,
okay.
But, yeah. Of course, well, unless you're talking about the fact that my ex-wife basically moved in next door to be closer.
Well, I was going to say I was going to segue into that one as well. I was like, how's that going along?
Yeah, so far so good. No major problems. No honeydew kind of crap. She at least respects the my space and understands.
Okay. Now, is she coming in by herself or with another family?
She actually, one of my sons is living with her still.
Oh, okay.
The one who just got out of college.
Oh, all right.
So, yeah, I had one of my sons went to college and got a degree in psychology and was one of like 2 guys in his class. The rest were all chicks.
That's not shocking whatsoever.
No, absolutely not shocking whatsoever.
Jesus.
Although I probably still got more action on college campus than he did, but that's a whole other set of stories.
That was another time, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even that long ago, really.
Really?
I still had, there was a coffee shop. Well, there are 2 on campus, but there's one that I went to, and because it wasn't Starbucks, so I enjoyed it, and I had a barista who never charged me for a drink and invited me over to her house, which was at one time a mortuary.
Oh shit!
A little
with the ghosts,
nice little gothy chick. So there you go.
Okay, you take her up on it?
What do you think?
I'm just making sure and clarifying because
yes, she had a very interesting casket.
Oh, I'll bet.
So it went in well with the old house. So, but no, it's just it's not like whatever some of the other guys have going on as far as being married or anything like that, because I've been there, done that twice, and I don't have any plans at this stage of my life to to repeat that. Although the second time around was not nearly the mistake that the first was. I mean, just yesterday I was working in a different room in the house, and I had some files, and I was looking through them, and one of them were print-offs of emails from ex number one from during the divorce. And I'm just kind of looking through some of them to see what they were about, and came across one where she was trying to rip me a new one because I had the audacity to take the silver set that my great-grandmother gave me, not as a wedding gift, but she gave me after I had been married for a while, just as a gift
to you
that she wanted me to have, since I was now a man, had his own family, had a wife, had 2 kids. And this was a big wooden rosewood kind of box of silver, antique silver. And she gave it to me. And I had the audacity to take that in the divorce.
How dare you?
Yeah. I literally took it out of the house with me when I left. And she was like, all the goodwill that you had built up during this whole process is just undone, and da. And so yeah, it's some interesting stuff. That would make its own interesting show, reading the ex's emails for the amusement of the uninitiated. But no, I don't, there's no reason to go through it, even though the second time around wasn't nearly as bad legally or anything else. Although Indiana is, not only do they charge you for getting married, but they charge you for getting divorced, and then they make you have to go and take a class when you get a divorce and show you a video that's about 40 to 50 years old about how, not to take stuff out on your kids and not to use them to get back at your ex and so on and so forth, which I found really funny because ex number one watched that same damn video, but she didn't listen to it at all. But anyway, yeah. So, but they charge you for it. So it's like, here you're going, potentially going through one of the worst times in your life. And we, the state of Indiana, are going to like take some of your money too.
Yeah. We're going to fuck you over.
Yeah. So why bother with that?
Ridiculous.
The state needs to be out of marriage anyway. That's just my thing.
I agree. A ritual wedding is one thing. A state-sanctioned marriage is quite another. I've done it. I've delved into that. Rob's delved into that. I was married a little over a year. That took a shit. But I've backslid a few times on this new law of my own that I have, guideline for myself. I tell women I'm with, I don't sit down with a clipboard, but at some point during a conversation and relatively new into the relationship, whether that's 10 hours, 10 days, whatever, there's 2 things you need to know about me. Number 1, I'm not marrying you. Number 2, we're not living together. I've had that for a little around a decade, and I've backslid once and had the woman move in with me. And that wound up being, domesticity stifles me. It's like this low level rumble of anxiety. I've tried to get rid of it. It just does not work for me anymore. Maybe in my youth, I thought that was a good idea because I saw my parents. They were together. They never divorced. They had arguments, and my mom cried a lot and things of that nature. But they still stayed. They were that boomerish generation. They stayed together and they stuck things out and they worked things out. For the most part, I think they had a happy marriage, and that was my template for men and women. So all during my youth, that was like a low level background. This is what you do. This is what you did. Even though my gut was telling me, hey, Vince, you really love action adventure. You really like doing things your own way. Hell, one of the first things you wanted to be was a detective when you're younger. You always loved those old detective pulp noirs where these guys, they drank their lunch, they slept on the fucking couch in their office, and they solved crimes and they fucked dames.
Mm-hmm.
To my young mind, that's fucking fantastic. I want to be like that when I grow up. So, but then you've got the reality hits in of your nurturing, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That's my parents. This is what you do. You pair up, you get married, and you live happily ever after. But then life starts squeezing your nuts, and you realize no, that's not it. And you also realize I'm going to do it my way.
Mm-hmm.
So my way is no marriage and no living together, ever.
Well, the thing
and then from that, I design everything around that. We'll go into further, but good, Robert. You were going to say?
No, I was going to. The thing that with me is the fact that one, this is a large place, and I've got my own place. And when she wants to come in, with the exception to certain places, if she wants to come in, I bring her in. But she exists in my orbit to make my life better, and she wants to do those things. And an example of that is I go to various concerts, and some of the concerts I go to are out of state. So, when I can work my work schedule around it, I travel out of state and I go see a band. What was it? Last year, earlier in the year, I believe it was, I'm over on the far side of Illinois near St. Louis, actually, and at a concert. And before the concert's over, I run into some people, and a guy basically hooks me up with tickets to the concert the very next night in the front row. I call to make sure that the kid will be all right, and I stay gone. I hadn't packed for it. I hadn't packed to spend the night because I was just driving out and driving back because I love driving and I don't mind driving at night. And long drives are fuel for the soul and tend to get the muses talking inside my head. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but no, there was no, but I've got to go to work in the morning, and what are we going to do with the baby? And da. It was like, oh, that's wonderful. Have a wonderful time. Have a blast. Everything's all right on this end. Well, not a problem. So my adventures, which are often solo adventures, are 100% supported, which is how it should be if you're going to have someone in your life. And I just, it's funny that neither one of the three of us, as far as you and Rob and I, are married, but yet, and we're not necessarily anywhere close to being settled down or monogamous or anything like that. But yet all of us have at least 3 relatively long-term relationships. So when I hear all these guys talking about, how do I get a woman, or I can't get a woman, or I can't even get a date, or whatever, I'm like, well, what the hell are you guys doing or not doing? Because
talking themselves out of it, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, we do it by accident. We get women in our orbit that stick around for a while. And I mean, hell, like I said, my ex-wife moved next door to be closer to me.
There you go.
She's still in my orbit.
Yeah, you're buying up the whole block. You just take the whole block and get the real estate.
Well, yeah, because see, then I can tear it down and I can build an actual castle with a moat and drawbridge and the whole thing.
Fucking trebuchets and catapults.
Oh, definitely.
And arbalests. Yeah.
War engines of various sorts. Get the smithies up and running to produce armor. So, yeah.
Definitely. Well, I wouldn't go with a compound. The FBI.
No, the whole compound thing doesn't work.
The ATF will come out and blow you up.
They shoot my dog.
Right?
Honestly, I thought you were talking about a bow. We were going to go into the whole armor digression, something like bikini chainmail for his.
We could totally do that too. Yeah.
That's another.
We could do both of these.
That's right. Fucking nerds, love it. So you're pretty much, Rob, you're pretty much of the same mind as I am in regard to no marriage, at least for the moment, no marriage and no cohabitation, at least for the moment with the cohabitation.
Correct. I did the marriage once and I filed and ended it. And as far as, how good or bad it could go, mine ended very well compared to many people I've met or heard about or talked to. But I also got to a point, and I've always been ambivalent about being a dad, where I looked at it when I was younger that if it happened, great, I would be the best dad I could be. But if it didn't happen, oh well. Okay. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten to a point now where I look at it and go, dude, I'm 51. And while biologically, I'm sure I can still have children, I don't want to be fucking raising toddlers at 55.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Which to me, for me personally, as far as getting the state involved, I don't want to be married unless I was going to have kids at this point. And so for me, marriage is completely off the table because I am now at a point in my life where I do not want to have children. And so there is no reason in my book to get married. And I've done the cohabitation thing twice. I did it when I was married. I did it after I got divorced and met another woman and moved her in after about 1.5 years, almost 2 years of dating. And we lived together for 2 years. And it was great until it wasn't. And I've realized for me, I looked back on that one when that ended and I said, gee, 2 different women, 2 different backgrounds, 2 different experiences, 2 different age gaps, 2 different age groups.
You're the common denominator.
Yeah. What's the fucking common denominator? And I'm like, well, that'd be me.
Oh,
And
It's
so,
the same with me. That's
See,
the same
I
with
just-
me. That's the same with me too. It's like all these domestic issues that I had in my past. I'm like, well, it's me. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. So I'm trying.
Right.
I need to stop trying to force fit myself into that what I think is correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get there.
Now, Rob, you're one of the rare anomalies because obviously Rollo talks all the time about divorces routinely initiated by the woman, so on. In my
70,
case,
80%, 90%, whatever.
But you pulled the plug on yours. Had you not pulled the plug, would she have, or would she still be? Would you still be in it?
If I had not pulled the plug on my marriage, I would be dead because I would have ate a shotgun.
Okay.
That's why I got divorced. If somehow I could have gotten through that and not taken my own life, she did not want to get divorced. Okay. She was shocked and horrified and all the horse shit you can think of that I know for a fact that had I not pulled the plug on it, because the alternative was end my own life because I just didn't want to do it anymore. Had I decided, stick it out, I'd still be married to her because she had zero intention of getting divorced.
Okay.
So I got divorced. It was either that or kill myself because that was the direction it was going.
You were just in that dark of a place and that miserable.
Yep. And it was all my own doing. I don't blame her. I blame me. And that's, but so to go back to your question, I know for a fact that if suicide hadn't been the alternative and I decided, stick it out, she would have never wanted a divorce. She was very happy where she was at. I was the miserable motherfucker and I couldn't do it anymore. And that's where it's like, well, if keeping up and doing this is not an option, you have 2 ways out. Either you get divorced or you end it. And ending it was looking good. And so that's where I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And so I got divorced. I chose that path.
No, you're not alone in that. But there are a lot of guys that I have heard who are in marriages like that were absolutely miserable, but they've, self-medicated in one way or another, or did whatever it took to basically numb themselves to how miserable
welcome
they
to
were.
4 or 5 years of my marriage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Till there was no alternative, because medicating, whether it was drinking or it was, immersing yourself in work, or it was whatever the activity, it was only a temporary fix. But every time I woke up, every time I went to bed, I had to look myself in the mirror, and I was metaphorically, obviously, but I was punching myself in the face. And I did that for several years. And I just realized when it got painful enough that I was like, okay, I'm done punching myself. I'm either checking out or I'm getting divorced. And clearly I made, the divorce choice just because I could not do it anymore. We had good times, and the marriage wasn't all bad. And if I had to do it again, for all you assholes that want to ask the question, if you had to do it over, would you do it again? Yeah, I would, actually, because it made me into who I am today. So I would. It was a lesson that I needed to learn that I didn't know at the time. So I would do it again. I would go through the hell again, because it was all self-imposed. It was all self-inflicted. I would do it again because I came out stronger. I came out better. I came out and I chose the life that I actually wanted instead of the life that everybody else told me, well, this is what you need to do. Because nobody else had any answers, and neither did I. And so I went along with, well, what do I do now, Dad? I don't know, get a job. Okay, I did that, Dad. Now what? I don't know, get married. And so I did that and wanted to die. But yet I had all the success markers that family and friends and society says you should have. Oh, you got a loving wife. Oh, you got this job. Oh, you got this house. Oh, you got all this stuff. And I still wanted to die. So I chose to say, well, God, if I did everything the way everyone else told me and I wanted to kill myself at the end of it,
something's wrong.
Yeah,
Something's
just
like
live my
painfully
life.
wrong.
Right. I might live my life the way I want to live it. And yes, I'm going to get judged. Yes, there's going to people that are going to disagree. Yes, there's people that aren't going to like it. Fuck all of them. It's my life. I'll live it how I want. Yeah. And that's what I've done ever since. And I'm happier now, even when things don't work out, because guess what, guys? It doesn't always work out. Shit doesn't always go the way you want it to go.
Correct.
Or worst case, it goes exactly as you've been told it would go.
You got just what you wanted.
Yep. You got exactly what you wanted, and you fucking hate it.
Yeah.
There's that.
It's
James,
like the old Wendy O. Williams song by the Plasmatics. It's my life, and I'll do what I want to do, what I want to do with my life.
You're up, James.
I'm up for what?
The chat.
Read the chat. I just
okay. Add Rob, as a man who wants to start a family, what would you say the biggest factor that you claim is on you? What would you say is the biggest factor that you claim is on you? What's the biggest thing that you have to take responsibility for? Is I think what he's asking.
Mike, I don't know exactly what you're asking. So instead of speculating, would you spell it out a little more? Because what I'm seeing there is you're asking me to define for you what it would take to be a family guy. Okay. And I don't know if that's what you want. You have to decide for you. Never mind what Robert says, what Vince says, what TJ may or may not say, what I say, what any other asshole on the internet says, what your dad says, what your mom says. You have to decide ultimately for you. And then you need to go into it with both eyes open. You want to get married and have children, which is the only reason, in my opinion, to get married. Okay, go in with both eyes open. No, there's the high probability you might end up divorced. No, there's the probability that if you do get divorced and you do have children, you're going to have to go through state-sanctioned, state-sponsored shit before you can get divorced. Guys, we're talking about it. Sarah Beth mentioned it. It's all true. And whether you're married or not, if kids are in the picture, you're going to have to go through that more likely than not based on what the laws are in the area you reside in.
Mm-hmm.
That going with that, as the man, as the young man looking to get married, looking to have a family, looking to be a playboy. I don't give a fuck what you choose. Know the laws of the area you live in. It's your responsibility. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And that's what a judge will tell you when you stand in a courtroom. They'll tell you ignorance doesn't matter. You know, ignorance of the law is no excuse. It doesn't excuse you from the law. Well, I didn't know. Well, fuck you. That's your job. You're supposed to. So know what is your state? What's the common law, if there is one? Understand what is community property, if there is one. Okay. In Utah, there is no common law. You can live together for your whole lives, and unless it's state sanctioned, you are not married in the eyes of the law in Utah. Utah has no community property. Okay. But you go to Nevada, right next door. I don't know about the common law part, but they do have community property, which means you got to split your shit up, both the assets and the liabilities. And that's if you're a resident in Nevada. And every state is going to be different. It's upon you to know what the law is. So look it up, or pay a couple $100 and go talk to a fucking attorney that's their thing, is family law, common law, all that shit. And they will be able to tell you exactly what it is in the state that you reside in.
Can I throw out some of my thoughts?
Sure.
Yeah, because Rob and I actually had a really great chat about this topic back at the Village by the Sea. What was it, 2021? Because we were kind of, I mean, not just, we're on Masculine Geek,
That's
so I
the
feel
one
like
that James was telling everybody to shut the fuck up.
yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
That's
Get the fuck out.
You know, we're on Masculine Geek, so I can say this without sounding like a geek, but you kind of have to war game this, where you have to look at all the different factors, all the different things, and not, you know, you don't have to like talk about with people, but you really do have to think about and sit down and say, okay, one, you look at the successful marriages that you see, if you see any, or you look at the ones that are dysfunctional and say, okay, what are some common denominators or common factors, which I see all the time. And you say, okay, what are things? These are things that you don't replicate. You know, I'll just throw out one out there that I've become more cognizant of is if you like the girl at some point, we're talking within the context of getting married and having kids. Okay, meet the mother. If the mother likes you, is genuinely like very friendly, like she treats you almost like a quasi son, that's a good sign. Because chances are, and Rob would attest to this, the girl is going to become like her mother, especially if she clearly takes after, right? So you're interacting with your future, the gal 20, 30 years from now. And so if the mother likes you, chances are your wife's going to feel the same way, or the gal that you're looking at marrying. If the mother is a constant source of conflict, just understand you're going to at some point have to deal with that in your own domestic affairs. That's just one example
from the tree.
Yeah, that's just one example of like the things that you have to think about if you're going to do that kind of stuff. So it's just, the problem is so many people go into getting married and having kids where they didn't think about it, and then after the fact they're like they realize what was going on. So if you want to make it work, it just requires a ton of like just, and the odds are it will be very difficult. I'm not sure if you're dating anybody right now, but I've sat down and thought about this stuff a lot and looked at all the different factors and you know, if the conditions are right or if the terrain's right, you know, for me that's one thing, but you don't get married for the sake of getting married. You don't have kids for the sake of having kids. So that was my thought. It's just it involves, especially today, you have to put a lot of thought into this stuff and think about all these different things that most people don't think about. And you also, on top of that, if your marriage is happy and you are raising kids right, now you're going to have to deal with everybody around you who's going to be driven by insecurity and jealousy.
Who cares what they think?
I get, but that creates another problem of like, who can you associate with? Who, like, what kind of a social life do you have? I'm just, for some.
No, I get what you're saying, and I'm not trying to be the asshole here,
Yeah.
but ultimately, you have to decide what works for you. And if your neighbors next door don't like how you raise your kids or how you have your marriage, because as an extreme example, I'm going to give you guys a really extreme example. So you and your wife and your kids move in next door, and the neighbors come up and they give you a housewarming gift. Here's some cookies and here's a meatloaf or whatever. And you find out they're from certain denomination of religion. And you're atheist. And not only are you atheist, but you're fucking swingers. Okay. And you know that if your neighbors know, they're probably not going to approve of your lifestyle. And yeah, granted, you may not flaunt it and wave it out the front window for them, or maybe you're a bunch of exhibitionists. It doesn't matter. You realize real quick, yeah, we're probably not going to associate with the neighbors too much. The kids are probably not going to play with each other, even though we're fine if our children play with theirs. But they may have a different take, and that's okay. You seek out people like you. That, oh, we want swingers. We want open-minded, voyeuristic, exhibitionist people in our lives. But what about the children? Hey, how I raise my kids is my business, and they're fine. They're not a bunch of fucking weirdos out raising hell and burning down buildings or whatever. They're good kids. So who fucking cares? You're going to be judged, guys, just like I got judged for dating someone 20 years younger than me. I got called pedophile. I got called groomer. And you know what? It didn't matter. The people who called me that shit were just basically jealous. All I had to do was look at my girlfriend at that time and be like, you think I'm a groomer? You think I'm a pedophile? And she fucking laughed her ass off. And I'm like, I don't know how you do it, babe. You just don't seem to, it doesn't seem to bother you. Where honestly, initially, it bothered me. And she's like, I don't care what they think. And this was from a woman who at the time, when I met her, at that time, I was like 43 and she was 23. And she did not care what other people thought about her, what they thought about me, what they thought about us. All she saw was me. And that's all she cared about. And that's where I learned, hey, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like whatever it is you're doing. Right? Oh, Rob, you smoke cigars. I don't like that. Well, go fuck yourself. I don't care. Rob, I don't like that you drink Bud Light. Well, go fuck yourself. I don't care. Yeah. You know, you don't like what I do, go find other motherfuckers to hang around with.
This goes back to what Roman with Opium Tales, we had him, I think it was on a private stream, but I'm not revealing any secrets, but he's also written about it on his blog post where, you know, if you're going to get married, you marry the ride or die girl. This is the girl where, you know, none of that stuff would matter. Kind of like what Rob was just saying. Like, you know, people don't want to talk to you. They like you lose friends or whatever.
You'll make other friends.
Yeah, and that's and that's the mindset that she has to have. Is like, I don't care about these people.
That's the mindset you have to have. Mm-hmm. It's not about her because you can't change her, you can't program her, you can't control her. So what she thinks in most ways is irrelevant. You have to decide for yourself. This is what I'm going to do. And
you are the only person who's going to give way.
Yep.
Realistically speaking, you are the one who's going to give way. Like, you're the one who's going to do the death by 1,000 concessions.
Yep.
If you don't guard against that.
Yeah.
You have to be the one ultimately to decide, how do you want your life to look like? Okay. Yeah. I did the marriage and I did everything mom and dad and society told me to do. And it got me looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge shotgun. All right. That's how I ended up. And then I decided, well, fuck it. I'm going to live my life the way I want to. And yeah, my dad doesn't agree with it. He doesn't understand it. And that's why he doesn't agree with it. He doesn't fucking understand it because he's not me. My mom didn't understand it. And she didn't agree with it for the same reasons. She's not me. And there's plenty of women who've come in my life and then walked out of my life that they didn't fully understand it and they didn't ultimately agree with it because they're not me.
Yep.
And either way, I had to watch them walk. And yes, sometimes it sucks when you really like a chick and you're like, oh man, but you have to live your life according to you.
At the end of the day, you're still you.
Right.
That's
You're
the,
the
that
one
is
that
the
has to
bottom
look yourself
line. Yep.
in the mirror.
Yep. Nothing. I'm not saying there are certain things you do that. What's the word I'm looking for? It's escaping me at the moment. But bottom line is, so Mick DeBest made a comment about all this talk about frame. I know that's going to be turned into a catch-all joke phrase over the next year or so. I just know it because it's already on its way. And not throwing shade at Rollo or Ryan's book. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with Spurgs. But that word, that it's not a philosophy, it's a way of life. It comes down to it being a man's masculine essence. He has to have that. And not just with women, in every aspect of his life, with his friends, with his family, with his work. And so often it's easy to do the friends, for the most part, the work and family, and that can get hairy. When it comes to women, so many guys fail at that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how many guys cut all their friends out of their life because of the woman?
Well, we were talking about this briefly before. The scenario goes, guys have really cool friends growing up. Maybe they have them in college. So they have forged bonds. So you think there's going to be lifelong friends. And then they find the one. Okay. And then they follow the script. Rob did it to some extent. I did it. We follow the script. And then we stop doing all that really cool shit that we did that made us who we were when we got the woman. And one of the key things most men do is they expect that woman now to take over the role of the friends, either consciously or unconsciously. She's my world now. My family's my world. I don't need that anymore. Yeah, motherfucker, you kind of do. You've gotten rid of everything that made you you, so you could be with this woman, assuming that she was going to be everything to you. That's not fair for you. It's not fair for her because she can't be everything to you because she's a woman.
Right.
She's not your friend. You can be friendly with her. She supports you. But we don't communicate the same way at all. There's no way she can be your friend in the way that guys are your friend. Case in point, you see a lot of the stuff about men comes across Twitter feeds. We've heard it growing up. Men vent your feelings. I saw a very interesting post. It was juxtaposed together. The same Twitter post. There was a woman, or presumably a woman, saying, "Why is it so hard for guys, to just vent your feelings?" And then immediately under that was the same woman telling, presumably her other friends, female friends, hold on to that time your guy vented his feelings so you can hold it over his head.
Why do you guys even care?
No. What I'm saying is, it derailed my thought. It has nothing to do with other women specifically about that. But what I'm saying is, why do I care about what guys think or what they do, or women? I don't care.
Both.
Well, we're talking about women. We're talking about what guys have a tendency to do and what we had a tendency to do. So I'm using that as a jumping off point for elaborating further on now going forward, holding your frame and not doing those dumb things that we did. And was guaranteed to essentially sabotage any relationship that you're in. Rob, you hold your own frame, correct?
Yeah.
No matter what happens, you hold your frame, and you learn how to do that.
I don't
through
care what women think. I don't care what other guys think. I do what works.
Exactly. But that's what I'm trying to say. That's how we got there. We didn't come out of the womb going, fuck you. I don't fucking care what anybody thinks. That's not how it works.
We make a lot of mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah. We had to get there. We weren't naturals at this. Like I said, we didn't come out of the womb and just immediately start doing this shit.
Oh no, dude! I was born red pilled.
Yeah, it's a complete process. So we learn over time not to care really about what women think and what not to care what men think. Now, having said that, Rob and I can go, we don't fucking care what anybody thinks. But when you have a close group of friends, there is a certain level of, hey, your opinion on this. I need to talk about this, or may this happen. Those are the friendships that are needed in men's lives, not your woman. Not your woman. Because I'm telling you right now, over time, her pussy is going to dry up. It's slowly going to go the way of the Sahara Desert in a drought. It's happened to me. Guys here on this panel have known it. You've read about it. You've seen it happen maybe with your friends and your family. It's going to happen.
I wish the hell it would happen with my mother. There's so much crap. Oh God.
So does James, apparently.
Yeah. I get tired of hearing the stories.
Right.
Because I've told her it's like, it doesn't matter when I was 12 or 55. I don't want to hear about your sex life, Mom. With James or otherwise.
God.
Oh no.
You brought it up, man.
I did. I brought this up myself. No,
yeah, you did. You did it to yourself.
I have no one to blame but myself at the very least.
It's all your fault.
But yeah, to something I've said before, to kind of dovetail off what Rob was saying, we may all be playing the same game, but we're not playing the game in the same leagues, on the same teams, or anything else. And
the same team part,
right? But that goes into a broader conversation. But what I'm saying is the win conditions for all of us are different. Me having 4 sons is a win. That would not be the case maybe for someone else. And there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make one choice better or one choice worse. For me, not having sons, I would regret that. For someone else, having kids might be a regret because they wouldn't be the father they wanted to be, or they wouldn't have the life they wanted. That's all. That's the thing. We've all got different win conditions. 10 girls in 1 year is a win. 5 girls in 1 year is a win. 20 girls in 1 year, it's a win. Maybe just having one for somebody is a win.
Right.
But that's the thing. We're all on different teams in different leagues playing the same game, because when you get right down to it, life is all the same game. I mean, we all have to eat. We all have to sleep. We all have to take a crap. And we all have certain desires.
We're all in the same ocean, but different boats.
Yeah. So, and going to different destinations. And the only way you can find out or even work yourself into a situation where you get a win is to do something that Rob always says. What do you want? Do you want to get married? Then be smart and do what you need to do to get that. Do you want to
go in with both eyes open? I'm not anti-marriage.
None of us are.
Yeah.
But just like none of us are anti-women, which is the whole, one of the whole things that, you red pill misogynist, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's man, like, no, it's like we love women. If we didn't love women, we wouldn't have the lives we had. I mean, some of my best mistakes and some of my greatest moments have involved women in one way or another.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
They're what is it, like Homer Simpson says about alcohol? To women, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. It's to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Cheers.
There have been times when the day's been really crappy, but her dropping down to her knees to welcome you home from work makes a really lousy day a hell of a lot better. Conversely, waking up in the morning and rolling over and looking at a woman who absolutely hates your guts. Yeah.
Or you hate hers.
Yeah. Or exactly. Or you hate hers. Yeah. So
that's because that's the part I had to learn to own with my, the demise of my marriage. It was me waking up, looking at her, literally thinking to some degree in one way or another, man, I fucking hate you. Wasn't her looking at me going, I hate you. No, she adored me, but I just was like, I can't.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. So the win conditions are different for all of us. So don't think you have to be Rollo or Ryan or Tate or Vince or Rob or TJ or myself or the square formerly known as James, which isn't here anymore.
He froze up for a little bit. I think he's having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
He went on another hike.
Yeah.
It's the post hike sweat.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, you got to find what you want and you've got to go into it and make the best of it and do what you can. And some days you win, some days you lose.
Well, and not only that, but realize that whatever you choose, whatever it is that you decide you want, there's always, always, always going to be naysayers because it's not their way.
No.
There's always going to be, somebody brought it up earlier in the chat. They said like half the world's not going to like you or they're going to hate you. I beg to differ with that comment. I'm going to put it the way I learned it, which is 1/3 of the world's going to love you no matter what. Your mom's always probably going to love you, your dad to one degree or another. And there's going to be a bunch of other motherfuckers that think you're pretty great. Okay. 1/3 of the world, if not more, is utterly indifferent to you. They really don't give a fuck one way or the other. And then 1/3 of the world's going to hate you no matter what you do. No matter how many times you apologize or do whatever, it's never going to be good enough. So you focus on that 1/3 that loves you, likes you. Everyone else can go fuck themselves. And that's what it comes down to.
James, would you like to read Nick August's comment? I think James froze up again.
He probably did. I'll read it. Oh, hang on, Vince. I want to try to sound somewhat like James, right?
All right.
Wrong. No one likes you bastards.
Nice.
There we go.
Coming from him, that's high praise indeed. I was going to say, if only half the people don't like me, I'm not doing something right.
All right. Well,
I got to get up those rookie numbers.
Right. That's something that I had to learn the hard way from looking down the barrel of a shotgun. I had to learn that, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do. And I don't care if the people I care about like it or not. I don't expect them to like it. They have to accept it, but they don't have to like it. They don't have to understand it because it's not their life. It's mine. And yes, I'm going to make mistakes. I've made plenty throughout my life. And I'm going to make more before I die. And I know that. But I have no regrets because at least I learned something from it. I don't regret my marriage. I don't regret dating someone 20 years younger than me. I don't regret having a revolving door where women show up and then they leave. Even when it hurts, it's like, watching her walk, it hurts. But at the same time, I like watching her ass as she goes. Okay. It's the life I chose. And I would not wish it on anyone else because you're not me, but I wouldn't change it. It's like, this is what I like. This is who I am. This is what I want. And so not everybody's going to be on board, and that's okay. It's like, hey, you do you. You're like, I just want, I want one woman and I want 5 kids. Go do that, bro. It's not my life, but I wish you well. But oh, you're a guy that wants to have a bunch of women in and out of your life. Hey, I have experience in that. And I can tell you the good and the bad from having that. but I would not change it because I like it. It's what I want. And oh, well, you don't have any kids. Yeah, I don't fucking want them. That's my choice. And yeah, oh, you're going to die alone. Dude, we all die alone.
I've said it before. I hope I do. Fuck.
Yeah, well, no shit. I don't want a bunch of motherfuckers fussing around me. My God.
Yeah, it's like, leave me the fuck alone.
I'm just gonna go up to you, Vince, and say, thanks for always being there, Doc.
I was waiting for you to say that. Actually, you probably would too, you bastard.
Yeah, don't forget to leave him the deck of cards.
Yeah, I guess I'll do. Yeah. You can talk to me about your 15-year-old cousin.
Right, my 15-year-old cousin. I loved her.
She was all I ever wanted.
All I ever wanted.
All I ever wanted.
What did you want?
Just live a normal life.
There is no normal.
What?
Just laugh.
Now go out.
Go grab that spirited actress and make it your own. Live for me, Wyatt. Live. It's not a complete evening unless we quote Tombstone.
Great movie.
It's one of the most rewatchable films I've ever seen.
And eminently quotable.
Absolutely.
I could never get tired of watching that film.
I just found out that at work, and I don't talk about work too much, but at work, one of the cleaning crew dudes is sort of an idiot savant when it comes to movies.
Idiot savant.
He's like Rain Man with movies. So he started off talking about movies, and then we segued into me and my buddies going back and forth with different movie quotes, and he was taking these esoteric movies and quoting lines word for word because we went and looked them up.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. And we would give him random 80s movies. Fucking quotes, like just fucking movies you never even fucking heard of. This guy has. I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing. It's like his superpower. It's like you need to do something with that. Shit, well, you can still clean our offices, but get out there and do something with your movie.
Goodwill
quotes.
Hunting, except instead of math, it's films.
Yeah, exactly. He just knew everything: old films, noir, new 80s. Not so much. Actually, not so much the new stuff. He doesn't like the new stuff coming out. But
can't blame him.
Anything prior to 2000, just this insane Rain Man dude. Yeah, I think we can all do that with a few films, but not this. Holy shit. Well, a lot of people are just idiots, McDibus, without the savant part. So yeah, there's that. The video story. I haven't really watched Family Guy all that much. I'm not familiar with that character, but if that's what he does, that's what this dude does. Yeah. and he just acts out the scenes and shit. I'm like, fuck, that's amazing. I love it. So, anyway, what the fuck were we talking about? I'm off on an idiot savant tangent.
Oh, you're talking about dying alone.
No, dying alone. I made a post or a newsletter. I made a newspaper. How heartening. I made a newsletter post about that. Yeah, and I referenced Tombstone at the end when Doc is dying. He wants Wyatt Earp to let him go in dignity. Let me go out my way quietly, peacefully. Not a bunch of people, because do the people really want to be there? Maybe they do. I don't know. I was there with my grandmother. My grandmother died, and my mother. So, we wanted to be there. It's a little different. I mean, some people do have that loving family around them. For the most part, you can't time it. To me, that was just blind cosmic luck that we were there at those times, because they were long, drawn out illnesses that we were really just riding the coattails of, waiting.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. To make this, for the most part, yes. Dying with Rob would be like dying alone, because he's not going to ask me a bunch of questions and fucking stare at me like he wants, and pretending he wants to be there. Rob will want to be there, dying on an airplane. I don't know about holding his hand. Probably not going to hold his hand. I'll be holding the rudder, making sure we get the ocean just.
You're
the right
holding
angle.
my hand, God damn it!
All right, I'm holding Rob's hand. Apparently, I'm holding Rob's hand. So,
How could you reject the last?
We're gonna do like the women in that fucking movie.
Thelma and Louise.
That's the one.
But only in a plane.
Only in the plane, but we're gonna hold hands as we're nose diving. That's
There you go. Let's do it.
Got it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the plan. So, the same thing. I don't want a bunch of fucking idiot savants, idiot fucking retards around me when I'm dying. Rob is cool. Anyone on this panel probably is cool. TJ can give his last regards.
He'll be brief.
He'll be brief. Call
He'll
me
be
Doc,
brief, yeah.
Thank me. Give me one of his books, signed books. Take it with me when Rob and I. He'll be holding his. Who Rob will be holding? I'm not holding Rob's dick. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Nick. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
That's what we all thought. When you said the rudder, we all assumed
Dutch rudder. Yeah.
Oh, the Dutch rudder. Yeah, there you go. That's
rudder?
That's gonna pilot Rob into directions that's gonna be good for him. That's not gonna pilot the plane anywhere.
Tell you what, either James or TJ's going to be on the flight, and they're both going to be screaming, "Not like this."
That's right.
reason or another.
While I think TJ will be more animated, James has the better voice. So.
That's how it goes in my head anyway.
That's what we do. We put
Narrated.
TJ on the plane, but we dub James's voice over TJ.
Not like
I
this.
wouldn't be fun at all. I would just be sulking in the corner.
What else is new?
Like, oh,
He'll be like, I missed.
sounds
the
like
hike
it's just
for
another
this.
fucking Tuesday.
Right.
Fine, I guess.
Gen Xers.
I could be out hiking right now.
That's
I could
right.
be out hiking. Right?
I came on this shitty flight, and instead I could have been hiking.
That's
Yeah.
right. Now we're just all holding hands and dicks.
I could have flown Spirit and gone hiking with it.
No,
Cappy.
no, I fly. Listen, I fly Frontier. I'm looking at that
Frontier?
delicious summer pass. Yeah,
Yeah.
that they got going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You come back to Jersey for a little bit?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Especially if I could get, let's say, if I could get all like, yeah, I work remotely now, and I make enough money for travel, especially if it's like all fly all as much as you want.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'll take it.
All
Absolutely.
right. Let me know. Like not like last time. You completely ignored me when you're out here. You fucking.
And not completely ignore you. I was up for somebody else's wedding.
Well, you could have taken
Anybody?
Vince as your
Okay,
date.
listen.
That would have
Okay,
been
Destiny.
acceptable.
Yeah, what the
Destiny,
fuck,
if you're
man?
watching this, if you're farming this for like things to criticize the Manosphere on, make sure to mention that we're all women. We're actually just all women. We're like, why didn't you text me? Why didn't you call me?
I don't really give a shit. I to be honest with you, unless you had like you I think you text messaged me. I forgot you're up here. So
Yes.
yeah.
No, I think I mentioned.
Like,
I
oh,
mentioned
shit.
it some of the time.
You did. I'm like, you were here. I didn't even fucking realize it. So I'm only
Yeah,
busting your balls.
Yeah. Vince has women to spank and books to write.
This is
doesn't have
true.
time to go to weddings.
That's this is. I don't go to weddings. They're just walking funerals.
Yeah.
No, they are. They really are. I do not. Small weddings that have nothing to do with the state, nothing to do with like a huge clothing comparison contest. Those are fine, and I've been to a few of those. But for the most part, now it's a walking funeral. Amos, we're tired of hearing about your nipple incident.
We all know it's still lying on a rock somewhere in Gettysburg in Devil's Den.
I don't know, man. They were
I
doing.
think it was here in Utah, wasn't it?
No, it was in Gettysburg.
Oh, is that where it was?
That's where the nipple gate was.
Oh, that's right. It was him and Bacon got thrown out of the shittiest bar in Salt Lake. That's what that incident was.
That was that incident, yeah. Because
Right.
those two
Were they the
Spurs.
wrong color or ethnic
No.
group in the bar?
No. They didn't care
They were
about
the
that.
wrong
They were both
loudness and
assholes.
obnoxiousness.
That's right. They were both
yeah.
assholes. That's why.
And they were with you guys, and they still
No.
Oh, okay.
They got thrown out all on their own. They went down to a bar in Magna, the shithole of the valley, the armpit of the valley. I knew the bar they got thrown out of, and I'm like, how the hell did you guys get thrown out of that place? You'd really be obnoxious to get thrown out of there. But that's what happened.
Joe was like babysitting little retarded kids.
Dude, retarded kids with serious autistic spectrum.
It was all Bacon, not the rest of us.
Yeah,
Well,
whatever.
Bacon, I love Bacon. Bacon has moments. Oh shit!
Yeah,
that
he
was
had
funny.
a few moments when he came out.
Oh,
But
great.
yeah, that's the part I remember with the Village by the Lake is, that was the highlight when I heard him, Joe, Bacon primarily, but they all got thrown out of the shittiest bar in Magna. And I'm like, dude, you have to practically murder somebody to get thrown out of there. And yet somehow they did. And it's like, wow. That
Feeling absolutely vindicated, huh?
I'll
Right.
tell you, I've been in some shitholes in here in Salt Lake, including that bar. Never got thrown out. Man, I was fucking obnoxious, and they never threw me out.
I was gonna say you've been in some biker bars and
never got
clubhouses
thrown
and
out.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I've been in some deep clubhouses.
Oh
and
yeah.
thrown
That's
out. That's what I'm saying. It's like, man, you got to be a special kind of guy to get thrown out of that place.
It's like getting thrown out of a Wendy's.
Kinda, yeah. That's what made me laugh when I heard that. I was like, well, of course he got thrown out. Of course he did.
Maybe they'd had better luck in the Blue Oyster Bar.
God, they might have.
For your Police
it's like,
Academy
maybe-
movie reference, people.
Right.
Watching
They
that.
might have. I don't know. It was rough.
That's your idiot savant talent.
Hey, speaking of,
We all
there
have
he is.
one. We all have one.
Yeah, Bacon's is being a Spurg.
Oh,
That's
shit.
okay. I still like him.
He
But,
may be a Spurg, but he's our Spurg.
Right there, you
He
have.
belongs.
it.
He belongs to masculine geek life. Yes, indeed.
But he's our Spurg. Yeah.
That's right.
But it was funny when I heard that they got thrown out. Part of me for about a millisecond was shocked because I was like, really? You got
How the
thrown
fuck
out of
did they
that
do that?
place? Yeah, because I'm like, dude, how do you get thrown out of there? I've been in fights in there and not got thrown out.
Mhm.
But then at the same time, I was like, well, of course it's Bacon and Amos and Joe. Well, of course
Yeah.
they got thrown out. It's like, so I was shocked, but then I was not.
Mhm.
That's just how it went.
Too funny. Too
Mhm.
funny.
That was a good time.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
been a while
gentlemen.
since I've been in Utah. Pretty nice people I met out there. I got offers to
Yeah,
go
it's a
horseback riding and stuff from a couple different people when I was out there. Actually, just passing through because I was heading to California.
Amos is having to clarify the story.
We just left.
Oh,
Hey, he got thrown out. We just left with him.
We didn't want him to feel lonely.
That's right. We were his ride.
That's funny.
Amos, you're not helping the cause, dude. Just
Throwing him under the bus.
just let it go.
Can you tell that Amos has been working in politics?
Oh yeah.
He's glad handing in the chat.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap up, we still have about 15 minutes on the subject of women. Do you want to segue into any amusing anecdotes? Do you want to tell any stories? Do you want to find out like how the dating scene is going in the Pacific Northwest? Do you want to know how the dating scene is going?
I want to know about that because clearly that is a whole other universe.
Yeah. So, TJ,
wanna
what's the scene report out in the Pacific Northwest with women? What's going on? Like you're a journalist. Give us the scoop. As Hemingway would say, the true gen.
Give us the facts, ma'am. Nothing but the facts.
Exactly. Because I know, like not too long ago, you were back on the dating apps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
that lasted for about 5 minutes.
Oh shit, that bad, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm being brief, sincerely brief. Yes.
All right. Well, how about the dancing? Weren't you
dancing-
meeting some young ladies at the dancing?
Yeah, but this is since we're talking about this topic, I've learned the hard way. I don't ask women out at places where I frequent, just because they're whether it's at
Right for the best.
it's like I'll enjoy their company. That's nice, but I will not ask out women at a space that I go to frequently, and I'm there for other reasons. So, like if there's a place I like to go to for work or for just like relaxing,
Mhm.
I'm like a cafe, restaurant, dine, or whatever. I will never ask out the women there, just because it's the same thing that happened. There was a place I went to frequently. One of the gals there wanted me to ask her out. I did, and then she ghosted me, and I have to deal with the fact that she's there too. And it just creates this awkwardness. So it's just like, you know what? I'm just done. I could go to the whole cynical stuff, but I don't care. I'm just done. So, being brief.
See, I that wouldn't bother me. It probably would have maybe when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't care that I screwed the waitress and she won't talk to me anymore. I'm still, if that's my favorite bar, I'm still gonna go there.
Right.
I mean,
I guess for me, I think the problem for me is a lot of people were like, well, what about the men? Well, I'm not a woman, so I don't have to worry about men's problem or, dating men. And I'm not Aaron Clary, so I also don't have to worry about dating men. But
you did go on a hike with him, so you did have a hiking date, so that worked for you as well as James.
Basically
Oh
the same
man,
thing at
it
this
was
point.
Brokeback Canyon with those two motherfuckers.
just the
Talking
level
about
of,
Clary?
Yeah,
Mhm.
How did I guess?
you're going on their
I
hike.
heard groping each other. I was like, that's got to be Clary.
just like the lack of emotional maturity that just
Aaron?
baffles me. No, I'm talking about like where someone's like nagging you to ask them out, you do, and then they just ghost you. Like for me, I don't understand how someone's capable of doing that, and so I don't want to be around them because it's like for me, I assume that there's even worse problems with that person. It's an unknown factor. I have no idea how screwed up they are, and since you guys are always talking about me living in the Pacific Northwest, this is an area
we don't talk about it. You talk about it.
Yeah, well, it's an area that's very prone to hysterias. You can just make up the most ridiculous. I'm not even joking. A person can just sit there and say very authoritatively, this person's running a death cult, and people just it's just throwing it out there like something ridiculous, and people will take it seriously just because they don't have any. That's where if you get mentally ill people, and I've seen it, where mentally ill people will just make stuff up.
Well, juxtapose that with when you were out here in Jersey and Philly. What were the differences that you saw in the women?
Well, Vince, I was like, we were just talking to people, and they understood we're just talking. Like here, you talk to someone or just strike a conversation, and the assumption is you want something from them. And within the context of like women, you can't even have like just playful banter or small talk. They're like, oh, this person wants like some grand. There's this thought that like, oh, you want something from me. That's the only reason you're talking to me. But I don't get that vibe at all on the East Coast.
Did Amos just actually us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe he did.
He just actually us.
Good on him.
That's funny. Actually,
I've just been A-bogged by Amos. I wasn't expecting it.
Right?
I really do think that ghosting is just kind of the norm.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
It is,
What?
dude. That's what I was saying about my blog post. Out of the 5 women, a couple of them where I thought things were going rather well, and all of a sudden, nothing.
Yeah. I don't think it's something new because
No.
when we grew up with just analog digital, the hand phone, the old copper POTS lines, it's like, when we hear, don't call us, we'll call you. Chances are, and I dealt with this with someone's who was just talking about Mike's talking about companies don't call you recruiters. That happened when we were younger. It's like they never fucking, they didn't call and say, well, we're sorry we chose someone. They just never fucking called you.
Right.
That was
heard from
that
them.
was the pre-digital age. Ghosting was just fucking not calling you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Now we see it like today. We are given a indication that this person is no longer talking to us.
yeah, it's a little more poignant.
Yeah. Oh man, this is going so great. Things are looking up with this one girl. All of a sudden, her Snapchat account is gray on my on my feed, and now I don't know, was it me? Was it something I said? Was it the fact that she's getting like 1,000 matches a day and
You
probably
tried to
had-
ask her to go hiking, probably.
probably
Yeah,
That's
stop
probably-
that.
Yeah, something to do with hiking.
Yeah.
But no, now you get like a literal visual indication of like, no, this person is disinterested, and that's
Yeah,
a
it-
little
it's-
bit more of a poignant.
Exactly.
rejection.
That's what I said. It's completely poignant, and it's a very direct form of passive aggressiveness. It's in your face passive aggressiveness, and
Yeah.
whatever, that's fine. You have to.
It
just
is
deal,
what
you
it
just,
is.
You just deal with it and roll with it.
You just roll on and talk
No,
to
it goes
them.
the win is not to ghost them first. The win is to get on a date.
The win is to have more women.
You just exactly. I don't go out of my way to ghost anyone.
Right.
I comport myself in a different manner than that. So, nor do I put myself in situations where that's going to happen with any alarming frequency. So, and if it does, I look at it this way: it's their loss, not mine.
There you have it.
So that's really how you do have to look at it that way.
Yeah. And think about it. If somebody gets in a relationship, are we gonna just like, how do I put this? We go out with a girl, monogamous relationship. She has like fucking 80 matches in the bag that she was talking to. Did we expect her to go through each and every one and send like a for lack of a better word, a breakup letter? Or
Well, exactly.
rejection letter?
It's physically impossible.
It'd
Yeah.
be stupid.
Yeah, exactly. It's just physically impossible. I remember back doing the some of the BDSM dating sites. This is before apps, and I was talking with one potential, and she was just telling me stories, like because a dating site, a dating app is still all the same, and no matter what the niche is, it's still all the same.
Yep.
Women get the attention, men do the attending, as it were. They ask out, they go out, as Zan Perrin would say, they go out into the land of women. We have to go out into the land of women. Fundamentally, for the most part, they don't come to us. Are there rare exceptions? Yes. Has it happened to me? Yes. Does it happen often? Fuck no. So,
and oftentimes
would-
when it does, you don't want it to.
correct. And she was telling me that the amount of messages that she got daily, she couldn't clean out her inbox fast enough. There's jokes there, but we'll leave that alone. She couldn't clean out her box fast enough. It was just too many messages, many messages, and this just does not happen to men. That's not how it works. The real world of you having to go talk to a woman and interact with her and bring her into your, you have to bring her into your world. It's not the other way around. So that happens with dating apps and sites. You have to bring them into your world, and that's how it should be. You bring the woman into your world. She becomes the accessory, the complement, the little extra, the little extra that makes your life easier. But yes, so yeah, the whole ghosting thing is just, you're right, James. It's just like, you can't, what are you going to do? Like, you get 500 emails in a day, and you talk to 2, those you reach out to, and then what, the other 498 you send rejection letters to? It's just not going to happen. Yeah, to some extent, you're right, Mictavus. Well, such is the quote-unquote culture we live in, the landscape of sexual interaction. I still enjoy it and get a kick out of it, so I'm not going to stop anytime soon. Any other amusing anecdotes or stories before we sign off for the evening? It's been fun and all interacting with the chat and having Amos school us on ghosting.
Well, I guess he's speaking from experience, so I don't.
Yeah.
Don't know.
All right, cool. We're going to call it, gentlemen. As always, it's a pleasure to have you in the chat, interact with you, all you dick holders in the chat. New faces, old faces. Always a pleasure. We'll briefly go.
Even Sarah Beth.
It's good to see Sarah. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. And I use the term loosely for the evening. Robert, where can everyone find you?
Well, here with the Masculine Geek, but also Robert Kuzlin on Instagram and Twitter, and the channel here on YouTube may begin having a little bit more activity in the coming months, but we'll see how that goes. Still putting it together the first episode and formalizing how I want to do things, but we'll just see how it goes.
Cool. We'll promote it when you do. Rob, where can everyone find you?
robsays.net.
Fantastic. James, yourself.
You can find me at Asher Creativity on Twitter, or if you like tabletop role-playing games, you can find me at Gelatinous Rube on YouTube.
That's a cool little YouTube channel.
And you can find him hiking in a forest near you.
Near you.
Yes.
Outside your window. I'm watching right now.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm a cryptid who comes to offer you, who comes to tempt you out into the woods with promises of wooden nickels.
Yes, wooden nickels. Don't take them.
And not wheat pennies.
Wheat pennies are the new thing now.
Yeah.
Wooden nickels are out. Wheat pennies are in.
Yeah.
And last but not least, TJ, we're going to find you.
You can find me at tjmartinell.com.
Or somewhere in the Pacific Northwest.
No, you can't find me there.
They're synonymous.
Yeah,
No
pretty
matter
much.
Yeah.
Shit, that's funny. All right, TJ, take us out.
All right, guys, keep the fires burning, keep the wine flowing, keep the lead shooting down range. Don't take any wood nickels. Don't drink all the rum, and tune in to next week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Bastard.
That'll screw everybody up.
All right.